Fred Rowe from Sierra Bright Dot Fly Fishing Guide Service. I've been teaching, guiding, writing, and lecturing on fly fishing since 1982. Well, let's get to this week's fly fishing report. We've had a week of really hot weather, so we've been dealing with hoot owls, which means we're fishing early in the morning, late in the evening to protect the fish if we're catch and release fishing, because once the water gets above 68 or definitely over 70 degrees, the mortality rate goes straight up, so we're being real careful how we fish those fish. Well, let's get up to the Upper Owens River. It's fishing great in the early morning with the trico hatch. Primarily, what's going on with the tricos is they hatch from a dun, and then there's a thing called the spinner stage, and the female lays the eggs on the water and it dies, and we call that the spinner fall. And when that spinner fall hatches, lands on the water, it's on the water for only maybe 45 minutes to an hour, but the fish just gorge themselves on those dead spinners, and that's the best fishing of the entire day. And after that, there's a caddis hatch, and then by noonish we're definitely off the water because it's getting warm and there really isn't anything going on. Well, let's go over to Hot Creek. Hot Creek, same thing. As far as the hatches go, it starts off with the trico hatch. In there, we're fishing the duns, the female tricos, and the trico spinner. And then after that, we see a blue wing olive hatch, and then we see a caddis hatch. The blue wings and the caddis hatch have been sporadic. Some days it's great, some days it's hardly there at all. Okay, down in the canyon, still a lot of weeds. So best thing to do down there is fish the caddis or the tricos and try and fish them in spots where you can get a good drag-free drift. All right, let's head down the hill to the Lower Owens River. Well, we're not quite done with the flushing flows in the gorge. So after September 6th, hopefully the water flows will be back down to under 300 CFS, so we can wade in the Lower Owens really well. Prior to the flushing flows and the increased flows in the wild trout section, we were fishing nymphs in there and doing really well with stoner nymphs and with two-tone green and gold prince nymphs and with gold-ribbed hare's ear. All right, so over to Bishop Creek Canal. Well, DWP owns the canal, and so they take care of it. Two things they do to the canal. One is dredge it, and so they've dredged it, and what that does, takes all the sediment out of the bottom of the canal. But the bad news is for the insects, it also pulls the insects and some of the crayfish out of there. So I think for the most part, the trico hatch is over there, so all we're doing is nymphing. But I did really good over Labor Day weekend in there nymphing using my Euro rig, fishing with the stoner nymph and the green gold prince nymph, and primarily was catching hatchery rainbows, but a lot of wild browns are still in there, and we're catching a few of those. Well, that's been this week's fly fishing report, brought to you by Sierra Bright Dot Fly Fishing Guide Service. I can be found on Instagram or on my webpage at sierrabrightdot.com or on Skippable News at sierrawave.net or on YouTube or on skippablenews.com.